This is going to be the tutorial for my app Export Data Globe. Pretty much what it shows is who exports how much of any important commodity you can think of. And you just move around the globe by scrolling. With your fingers, you can zoom in by scrolling. And you can select whatever commodity you want. So, for example, let's look at cars. Germany is famously the top maker, or the top exporter of cars, rather. China makes the most, but Germany exports the most. And so we can click on Germany. We can see that they're responsible for 6 or 17% of global exports, right? But we can also tap on, let's just say, Czechia, right? They're not in the top 3, but they have 3.5%, 34 billion. That's pretty respectable for being such a small country. Same thing with Slovakia, right? All right, let's go over to Asia, which is the biggest, right? We can see there's Japan, number 2. We can see there's China, number 3. But look, South Korea is only a little bit behind, 70 billion. That's not too bad. And we can just move around with our fingers. We can rotate the globe if we want to. We can tap the compass up here to recalibrate it. So if you rotate a bit accidentally, just tap the compass to recalibrate. And you can pick whatever commodity you want and see who exports how much. Oh, let's look at Mexico, about almost 7% of global exports. Makes sense. So let's just randomly pick coconut oil. Turns out coconut oil is heavily in Southeast Asia. So we got Indonesia. We can look at the Philippines. We can look at Malaysia, right? That's the top 3 we see down here. But we can decide to click on Papua New Guinea and see that they also export 137 million, right? We can tap on Thailand. See, they also have some. We can tap on Sri Lanka, right? You can tap on whatever country you want for whatever commodity you want. You can even look at Spain. Spain, interestingly enough, also has coconut oil. We can look at diamonds. Okay, so India is actually the number 1 exporter of diamonds. I think India does it more adds value to the diamonds. I think the diamonds are actually mined and more down here, but I think India refines the diamonds. I think specifically in Gujarat, I want to say, is where the diamonds are turned into jewelry. In fact, if we scroll down to jewelry, we can see that India also is on the list for jewelry, although Italy and France are even higher than India, probably because of the branding, luxury branding, I'd assume. But yeah, India is good at taking diamonds and turning them into jewelry. And so we can look at lithium. Who mines the most lithium? It looks like South America has lots of lithium, specifically Argentina and Chile. In fact, looks like Chile has almost all the world's lithium exports, 74%. Plus Argentina at 17%. Okay, so we can see that they really dominate the world. If we scroll over here, not that much going on with lithium. But if we pick nickel, then we can see that there is stuff going on, specifically in the Philippines. I mean, and you can just pick whatever commodity you want, right? Let's look at phones. Those are heavily made here in East Asia, right? So we can tap on different countries, see, there's South Korea with Samsung. Although I think Samsung actually makes most of their phones in China and Vietnam, which is why those 2 countries are the top exporters. But we look at the U.S., right, and then Mexico, which is part of NAFTA. So there's a North American supply chain for phones as well. Same thing over here with Europe. Looks like Netherlands is number 1 for phone exporters. Maybe that has something to do with ASML in Europe. I don't know, but you can just pick whatever commodity you want, and you can see who exports it. So you can see like raw tobacco, Brazil and India, not too surprising, but also Zimbabwe, interestingly enough. And you just use your fingers to navigate around the globe and zoom in, zoom out with your fingers, and just pick whatever commodity you want and see who exports the most, how much your country exports, how much other countries export. And yeah, you can just explore all the data you want with Export Data Globe.